So we're here in London at the Gemini PDA headquarters. And who are you?
I'm Davide Guidi. I'm CTO of Planet Computers. Welcome, Nicolas, to our Planet Computers labs.
So what date are we today? I think it's 15, right? 15th of March.
2018.
So, 2018. And how is it going with the mass production and the shipping and everything?
It's going very well. We have been extremely busy in the past few weeks, especially. We got the first batch production out, so the first 1,000 units, and we managed to ship
1,000 already.
Almost 1,000 out.
And how many more backers are left?
We have a total of 4,200 plus units, so we still have a long way to go. But luckily, Chinese New Year is now over, so we will be able to ship and to manufacture and to ship the devices very much
quickly, right?
Yes.
So 1,000, that's awesome. So that means I was checking your Twitter just before. Actually, it's exploding with users and they're doing all kinds of stuff. And like right here, this is one of your posters. It shows the heat map of where the customers are. There's a lot of guys and girls over here in Japan, in Europe, in Western US.
Correct.
Australia.
Yeah, a few. Yes. It's really a device that was missed really for a very long time, and we find that a lot of people from all over the world really are interested in this device.
What are they doing right now? Because they got it for a few weeks, some of them. They got them just now, they're getting them. So they're running Android, like that's your default thing, right? You have the Android?
Yes, so here we have several examples. Some of them are final production run, some of them are prototypes, and they run different operating systems here. So this is the default one that is shipped to the backers for the moment, which contains only Android. And we provided alternative firmware and a flash tool for the backer who wanted to create a dual boot device.
So all these are running Linux, all kinds of different Linux over here.
Yes,
this is Android and
correct. This is Android. All the others are dual boot versions, and they have been contributed by mainly by open source communities, and it was an effort led by Nikita Ukrenkov, our Russian hackers.
Who's this guy?
He's actually a Russian student who got in touch with us and asking to help, and we started working together. He has some very specific, deep knowledge about Linux, and he helped us very much, having different kind of flavors.
Nice.
We had internally a Debian version prepared, but actually, as you can see here.
So what do we have here? What do you have?
So this is Debian.
Debian right here.
This is Debian, correct. This is
Debian
running LXQT.
Nice.
I think it's called UI.
Yeah.
This is Ubuntu. This is the Ubuntu version.
What kind of Ubuntu is here?
17.10.
17.10. That's kind of like the latest.
It's one of the latest, yes.
And
it's running the GNOME shell at the moment. So these are
and
kind
you have
of
a mouse on this one.
Yes,
So
this is connected to a USB-C mouse, so you can go and click and interact with the machine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna click in that corner there. All right, so you got Debian, Ubuntu.
This is Sailfish.
Sailfish. Jola.
Correct.
And is it smooth?
It's actually quite smooth. It's very interesting because it's one. We didn't spend too much time on it, but it's already a very good porting. So hardware is the GPU acceleration. We have pretty much most of the drivers working, including 4G connection and telephony support.
You have 4G. You have the mobile working. The GPU accelerated.
Yes, GPU acceleration, 4G audio, video, telephony support, so we can place calls from Sailfish on this device. And of course, it's kind of early days, so we are going to work more on that and provide even better support. But it's already very, very good.
Can you type something cool?
Yeah, sure. This is a Linux machine, so you can type things like top to check, your processes and stuff. Yeah.
Is this kind of like mind-blowingly awesome, or what's going on? Because I don't see this very often. Just one more. There's one more. Unix
yes,
right here.
this is really experimental. So this is an operating system called Post-Market OS, and the only reason we have it is because, first because we can, and secondly because it's people who own a Nokia N900 like myself in the past will be very nostalgic to see this desktop.
Nice.
Image, because that was the main one for all the Memo, Migo, and so on operating system. It's an experimental version, but it's it already works and it's quite interesting. It shows you the potential of this device.
So right
and
now
the
we just have 5 different Linuxes. Okay, the main Android. You have these over there. But potentially, what's happening right now? The source code, is everything outside?
Yes. So basically, since the beginning, our idea was to. So this device comes from actually a need. We really needed something like this, a device, a kind of hacker dreams, kind of little device you can bring with you, which enhances your possibility of doing things, right? And this device is really interesting because we are not used to have anything like this anymore. It fits in your pocket. That's the main thing. It's a device with a keyboard that fits in your pocket. And since the beginning, we wanted a really flexible machine. So we wanted to create something open, and for this reason, we already announced that we are gonna open source 2 key parts of the product. One is the kernel, and the second part is the bootloader. And we are gonna do this in the next few days or weeks. And the reason is we want to allow people that are not happy with Android or with the Linux version we provide to actually port pretty much whatever they want to this device. So if you have the kernel, if you have the bootloader, you can pretty much do whatever you want with the device.
You can run Chromium OS. Maybe. You could run AOSP Android and tweak it whatever way you want.
The most important thing is you're free. You're free to choose what you want. And you're free, if you have the knowledge, if you have the will, you are free to port anything.
Mandriva Linux.
Yes, why not?
And
absolutely.
All these different flavors of Ubuntu, Lubuntu, and let's say the smaller kind of OS is maybe there's some like some smaller variants of maybe what's it called Red Hat. They have these open source OSs too and stuff. I mean, everything here is open source, right?
Yes, the other yes. Apart from Android, the other one is all Linux, all open source, correct?
And how is it so smooth when you're in here? How can it be using? Is it using the binaries that are accelerating the GPU and everything?
So technically, the situation is the following. So there is one library in particular called libhybris, which has been developed, and it's quite an amazing library because it allows Linux to reuse some functionality which are designed for Android. Basically, that means that when Linux boot, when the operating system is up and running, there is a Linux container which initialize some small Android bits, and in particular the GPU acceleration, the 4G connection, and so on, and basically exports this functionality down to Linux. So an operating system like Yola, like Sailfish, can actually have GPU acceleration, so have very, very fluid animations, and it's very responsive because of this.
And hopefully this trick, so it's not running on the Android kernel. There's not something, I thought it was something like that, but it's the Linux kernel that has all the Android binaries in some kind of layer.
That's correct, because Android kernel in reality is a Linux kernel, with some Android extra bits. And what and basically what this library does is exposing the Android parts for Linux. So there is no Android running here; it's just Linux. There are just some drivers which are initialized in a kind of Android container, and then provided to Linux.
So right now I pushed your off button, and if I just boot it up again, what's going to happen? It's just Android.
It's a dual boot. So basically, the way we design it is if you boot up the unit normally, it will boot up in Android. But if you press the button, yeah, this is what's happening now. So I just rebooted the unit, and this should boot up in Android now. But if I boot and at the same time I keep press this button, it will actually boot into, in this case, Sailfish.
You have a really cool boot up animation.
Thank you.
All right, the planets are on the planet.
Yeah, so you can see planet and then powered by Android. So as you would expect, Android will now boot. Here it is.
With the longest battery life in London. I mean, I'm joking, but very long battery, right? 4250, or is it?
You see, this is, again, it's a device that has to be useful. And if the device stops working half a day through, then what do you do with it? Nothing. So we wanted a device that's, it's portable, it's small, it's light, but also that you can rely on. And we are quite happy at the end. We managed to get a 4,200 milliampere hour battery, and we think it's good enough for most of the cases.
The biggest in the market, or one of them.
In the shows, we keep it running like 7 to 8 hours continuously, with the screen continuously on and attached to an HDMI or better USB-C to HDMI adapter, and it runs for 7-8 hours. And
is this the latest one? This one, or is it one of the earlier prototypes?
Let me check.
This one.
This is possibly this is not the latest. The latest right? Doesn't have any sticker on it. So let me just find it. Possibly it's this one. Yeah.
So this is the one they're getting, yes. the backers right now.
So you can see it's the latest version. So you can see it's basically the way that's been designed.
Nice. So when you have it closed, they can still run different things, and
yes. So if look, you have so you can see. First of all, it has two USB-C, one per side. So one here in one on the other side. There is an extra button here, which is a kind of smart button, and
so it's not
used
on-off.
It's not on-off. It's used in a different way. When the machine runs Android, if you just press it, it will invoke the Android assistant, so you can dictate some commands. But you can use it when you are receiving a call. You can use it to actually take the call, or nice. if you keep it pressed to reject the call. On the other side, we have the mini jack for the headphones and another USB-C port.
Nice, two USB-C. I see a little light in the USB. Is it? Maybe the display is running. Is Ubuntu this one, right?
Yeah.
So so all this power management,
yes, this is
all this power management stuff is going to be eventually optimized, because once you make it open, what would you like the community to do to optimize the Linux here? What can they do? Because right now this trick is only for the Sailfish, the Android speed up, or is it available for the other Linuxes yet?
You see, we are still working on it very much. So we managed to do already some of the work. What really needs is a bit of love for polishing some rough edges, basically. But we in the latest days we managed to get accelerated GPU also on Debian and Ubuntu. We still miss a few drivers, like for example the USB-C to HDMI, but we hope to have them like very quickly.
Is there? It would be nice if you could do the HDMI with a secondary display. I mean, I even think the dream would be to have Android as a default on this display and then have one of the other Linuxes on the other one. But that's a lot to ask, right?
It's there are so many things. It's a device that it's very important to different people in different ways, and it's very difficult to do everything. But we need to start somewhere, and I think we now have a kind of product, a version 1, which is already very, very interesting. And from our side, we're just happy that the device can be tailored to different needs, and hopefully very soon we will see more and more operating systems running on it, and improved software.
So this is your cable right here.
Yes, we have a few accessories. So this is the USB-C to HDMI cable, which allows you to connect to a big monitor, and it allows you to output full HD.
Nice.
This is a USB-C hub. This is quite an interesting thing for us because...
Can we see it?
Yes, we can
Open
see
it
it.
up?
I can just open it for you.
Yeah.
And see if there is a already open box or...
Is there like an open hub? Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to
It's
mess
okay.
around with the ones you're going to ship.
No.
Okay.
So, to us it's very interesting because, okay, it has normal USB-A connectors, but it also has a Ethernet port.
Nice. Is it a gigabit?
Good question.
Yeah, possibly. So there probably is gigabit Ethernet support, I guess, on the SoC. But these are blue, so they're USB 3.
Correct.
That's cool.
Yes.
And with another here you can use for charging, the power delivery.
There is a charging port, is not yet enabled, so you cannot use it for charging and connecting at the moment.
Can you charge on both Type-Cs?
No, the ports are slightly different. I'll explain. On the left-hand side port, this one can be used for connecting to a PC, it can be used to charge the unit, and it can be used to connect to a USB hub. And the right-hand side can be used to connect to a single USB peripherals, like a mouse or a keyboard, and can be used to connect the USB-C to HDMI cable.
Nice. So it's not for hub here, only there.
This one is not for the hub, correct.
But one unit?
But one unit.
Or the HDMI.
Correct.
Which is awesome, which is great. And you have a very cool HDMI cable that doesn't have a converter and everything, so you're not doing a DisplayPort or something like that. It's like proper HDMI coming out.
It's a passive cable, so there are no components inside, and it's just routing basically the signal through
It's
HDMI.
just getting the Type-C out for an HDMI. It's totally awesome. This is the gold. Is it real gold?
Yes, this is actually real gold. This is golden, so this is just golden color, and you can see the difference. This is not gold. This is actually real gold.
And you have backers who ordered the real gold.
Yes, we decided to create only a very, very limited number, like 30, and we sold
Sold out, no?
almost all of them. Yes.
Wow. And this was $1,000 or how much for the gold one?
Yes, I believe $1,000. Yes.
Nice.
Correct.
So they'll be very happy to have some gold in their pocket. It's
Yeah.
gonna be cool. Is yours gold?
No.
No, you're not a gold.
No.
Just you're using all these. You're doing all the. What is it that you do? What do you do?
The team is quite small, so we do a bit of everything. And we just personally, I'm just on a technical side, so anything related to software and many other things. We're just a small team, so we have to cover several roles actually.
And the bootloader definitely unlocked.
Yes, I mean it's more than that. We'll provide the source code, so the unit is unlocked in the sense that you can actually you can reflash it the different firmware, but we will provide the source code. So source code for the bootloader means that it will enable people to do things which we are not currently allowed. For example, booting the unit on booting Linux on an external SD card, or even from a portable USB-C stick. So they are all like edge cases, and if you have the bootloader, you can really decide what to do.
And you can do more than dual boot. You could do triple, quadruple boot, whatever.
Absolutely. Technically, you can do pretty much what you want.
And I hope somebody figures out how to do an Android here, the latest, best the Android. I think they're number P right now. They're getting to P.
So yeah.
But whenever the software, or 8 would be cool. So have Android right here, and then on the external display, another, both at the same time somehow. Maybe somehow it will work. So hopefully, the guys at the MediaTek, they're supporting you, hopefully, right? and it's not just the open source or the open source community, and you're a Russian hacker, and you are a hacker yourself, right?
Well, yes, whatever hacker means, but yes, we work with technologies. Yes, it's always a trade-off. It's very difficult to say to put a stop. We have a lot of ideas. We receive a lot of suggestions for the backers, and a lot of suggestions make sense. It's just always a trade-off to decide when to stop and to actually release a version, rather than wait and improve the product even more.
You have only 24 hours in a day, right? How many emails are you getting right now? Comments and everything?
A lot, yes.
But hopefully people are not worried about the shipping or anything, because they can see that lots of people are getting it, right? So
yes. We shipped already a lot of units, and we started receiving a few comments, a few reviews on the net.
Some good reviews?
Some good reviews. Yes, it's quite encouraging.
Mostly good, right?
Yes, I would say mostly good. Yes.
Yeah. The only ones that are negative are the people that don't even have one. They haven't tried it, and they just don't understand why you would release a PDA in 2018. But I think PDA is the future. It's not the past.
You see, it's. I don't think it's a product for everybody, and I think it's. It's a product for people that needs this kind of devices, and there is a philosophy behind it, and it's that there are devices for media consumption, and there are devices for actually creating something, and we believe that. You want me to?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. You believe that's what? Sorry.
And we believe that there are some kind of devices which are here to stay, like tablets, which are perfectly. They're very well designed for consuming media, like watching a movies or so. But this kind of device is designed to be creative and to be productive on the move. And you cannot do that with a tablet or with a phone. You really need a device with a keyboard, a device that is designed for actually allowing you to do stuff.
And it's actually really great to type just with your thumbs on it, right? It's like much better than a BlackBerry. This is the proper size keyboard, like to do some thumb typing.
Yes, it is. It can be used for thumb typing, so you can use it, if you're standing up, and it works very well when you put it down, because you need a very, very small space. You see, this is a very small mouse.
Bluetooth mouse is no problem too, right?
Yeah. And if you have some space, you can put it down, and you can actually type, possibly with all the fingers, if you can do that.
Was this the latest? Which one was the latest? Sorry, this one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's go in. I'm gonna go in here. No, that's not. This is a special Office app. But so yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it can be fully smooth, fully hardware accelerated. This is running on the X27, which is, as far as I remember, is a. It's not the Deca-core, right?
It is a Deca-core, yes.
Deca-core.
It is a Deca-core device, yes.
So it has
It has 10 cores. It has 3 clusters of processors, of cores, and basically they're used. It uses one processor or more based on the load. So in the worst case, if a lot of if you're doing something very CPU intensive, 10 cores would be used at the same time.
So is it 272 and 853? As far as I remember, the ARM Cortex and all that stuff. Actually, it's on this one, right?
The technical specification here. Yeah. Yes, it's 2 A72, 4 Cortex A53, and another 4 A53 at a different.
And you have a T880, which is a pretty awesome GPU. But even though the GPU is not open source yet, still. Hopefully all these binaries and that trick, what do you call it already, the driver?
So the library is called libhybris.
Libhybris, who did that? Is it a new thing?
It's, I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the guy, but it's actually, yes, one guy, which if I'm not wrong, has been then hired by either Ubuntu or Yola to develop, because it's basically the library which is at the basis of the Yola Sailfish and of what was Ubuntu Touch.
Nice.
So the library is open source, and that's what we are using.
Is it a big thing, that library? Is it a big install or a little?
It's a clever thing, the library.
Does it
rather
have to
than
be
big.
adjusted and adapted for each different Linux distribution? Optimized for each one? One thing you have to do is you have to optimize all the short keyboard shortcuts, right? Hopefully there will be ways to get all these to work.
Yes, it's yes, exactly. So that's one of the things, and you know, on the Linux side, things are slightly more complicated because, for example, when you get all the key mapping right, then you have to be careful what window manager you're using, because some like for example, GNOME shell can recognize correctly all the shortcuts, but other window manager they might not have the same kind of power, so they don't have the same kind of functionality. And some, for example, brightness up or down or volume up or down shortcuts might not work. So we are still in that process of connecting all these little bits together to make the unit perfectly user friendly.
And on your website, there's a flashing tool that's required, right? Which is right now runs on Windows, but can it run on something else maybe? Or
yes, so the tool is called SP Flash Tool, and yes, it runs at the moment only on Windows. It can be compiled for Linux, so we are planning to provide very soon a Linux version. This goes along the side again, this kind of idea of having a device that can be tailored to your needs. So we decided to, instead of forcing the user to have a dual boot device and to have one flavor of Linux, which was our initial idea, since we discovered we can run more than one flavor, we decided to give away a tool and some instructions. So a user that wants to install a second operating system can do it. And so on our website at the moment, we have the drivers, we have the Flash tool software, and we have at the moment two kind of firmware. One is the Android original, and the second one is a dual boot Linux, Debian, and Android technology preview. We will have more firmware coming very soon.
Nice. So that's it's kind of like mind blowing. You're doing all these things, and you are just like an Indiegogo project. It's kind of awesome, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's true that
the keyboard is stable.
The keyboard is important for us. So we try to have like a very good keyboard. If the keyboard is not good, it's actually the whole device is completely useless. So the keyboard is actually the most important things. It's easy to type.
So can you type? It's easy to type. You write that. So which OS is this one?
I don't know. I think we are inside LibreOffice Math to create formats.
This is the Debian, right?
It's Debian, yeah. Let me just go to a text application because I don't know what we're doing there. And I think I managed to restart the machine.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
So yeah, so the Linux stuff is it's a work in progress. And is this also the latest keyboard, right? This one?
I can have a look. I can type happily.
Let's see if there's any kind of like text editor or something.
Yep. If I just run a terminal.
There was no spelling mistakes at all. Perfect. You used to it, right? You may be the guy in the world that's been using it the most. The keyboard.
I'm not sure actually. It is true that since probably a month I'm using it as my main device. But I had a previous generation of keyboard which is not as good as the one that the backers had. And the one that we released to the backer is actually very, very good. We're very happy with it.
Cool. So can you just tell one or two stories about what we're seeing on Twitter happening right now, like in Japan and stuff? What's happening? What are people doing?
It seemed
very
we
happy.
have been it's quite interesting because there were people really missing this format. So there were people used to have devices like the Palm, like the Scion, or the Nokia communicator, and we receive email, very interesting emails of people telling us. I don't know. One guy was telling us, "Oh well, guys, every couple of years I'm using Google to search for Nokia communicators like devices, and every 2 years I'm disappointed. This time I found you. Oh, how amazing! I'm going to back your project immediately." Right, and these are kind of, it's very interesting. Is a device that fits a need, and there are lots of people that need a device where they can type and they can be productive wherever they go.
And why are they so happy with it in Japan?
That's a very good question.
They're the number one market, right?
It's a country where they're really into gadgets, and they're really into this kind of devices, especially typing devices.
Maybe for Japanese language, a touchscreen it's much more important for them to have a proper keyboard. Maybe I don't know how it works.
Or probably just they see, they understand the fact that with a device like this you can actually be productive on the go. You can do things like, you could do everything on a mobile phone if you want to, but you can't really do easily, things like doing a spreadsheet, because it's just a touch screen. It's very complicated. But with a keyboard, it becomes actually a very, very different proposition.
And it totally works on the Japanese CDMA and on the American CDMA and on the GSM networks. Is one device for the whole world?
Yes, we support a number of, we support both CDMA and LTE. And we try to support as many bands as possible. The bands are actually here. These are the LTE bands that we support. It's a device that can be used worldwide. We don't support all the bands available in the world. I don't know if there is a phone that supports everything in a single version, but we try to do our best, and definitely can be used pretty much everywhere.
Dual SIM, hardware dual SIM, right?
We have one SIM, which is a normal SIM slot, so you can put a micro SD. We have support for something called an eSIM, which is an embedded SIM, and that is a kind of chip, and it will be used in the future to do like very interesting things like downloading a mobile phone number directly into the chip. So
nice.
Basically removing the need of a SIM, the plastic actually SIM.
Maybe you get into a new country and boom, you can choose your carrier. It just loads it in, maybe.
Yes. It will open up a lot of possibilities. So you can imagine, downloading, going to another country and just downloading a phone number, so you don't have to go to a shop, and you could do everything literally online.
And I imagine there's multiple 100 megabit per second LTE already, right? So maybe you can get the fastest LTE in any country you want.
If the band is supported, yes.
Cool. So that's cool. And this is just March 15th. And what's next? What's going to happen next week? What's happening the week after? What's happening right now?
Right now
we are.
Well, right now we are. The hardware is done. So right now we are trying to improve the software. So I can tell you that we had some applications that we already provided in the device, and for example the sort of application bar. So when you press the planet button, there is this application bar that pops up, and it's customizable, so you can put
transparent.
Your own. Yes, and you can put your own applications there, so you can access them in a very easy way. On Planet, you have things like the Planet support, so you go immediately to our website.
In Planet Store, you just click, you can buy 10 more devices. What do you do in Planet Store?
We will be able to, yes, very soon. And so it's basically, this is just, just to keep in touch with us. And the Planet support redirects you immediately to the support website. You get the latest news, you can check, you have a troubleshooting. If you have some issues, you can get information about the device.
Is there a forum?
Yes, we do have a forum. For developers mainly. It's developer.planet.com. This is the forum.
Nice.
And,
There's also an XDA forum, XDA developers. They have a category for you.
Yes, apparently yes. It's been announced I think yesterday.
Hopefully some of these awesome hackers like get interested and start doing crazy stuff.
Yes.
They're welcome to do it, right?
This is, it's a device designed for this. So hopefully, yes.
Hopefully you've made it so there's no way it's gonna break, right? No matter what people do.
It's quite difficult because of the way the MediaTek chipset is designed. Even if the operating system doesn't boot, just by connecting the device to a PC, the device will enter in a kind of so-called fast boot mode, and that means that it can, a new firmware can be flashed straight away.
So there's not too much, hopefully, of a risk in that direction, and what's called I mean, with the use that you've done over the recent past, it's very stable. It doesn't get too hot. It's like
yeah, it's correct.
It doesn't disconnect. Like that. You must have some bugs, no? What bugs?
For us, the most important thing is that it's a very stable device. We usually on Android, at least, we never experience a crash. Let's say. We still have to provide more support for some applications. So, as I was saying, we started for the app bar, but we have other applications which we are working on, like the calendar. They're like a subset of very important application, which we are optimizing for this format.
How does the multi-window work?
The multi-window work. You just press this button. Okay, we got an app which doesn't support that. Let me try this. Okay, and you can just
so that's
use
can you
two
improve
things
that,
at the
or
same time.
that's already the best multi-window system?
This is just provided by Android, and it's pretty much.
Which is awesome to have this on the horizontal display.
It's very good because the display is actually a 18 by 9, so a 2.2 per 1. So it's actually 2 times X and 1 Y, so you can easily have two applications.
Nice.
One close to the other.
Nice, cool. So all these users, hopefully, they can send you a summary because you're very busy. But it would be great if somehow they should put all their feature requests, suggestions, and just put them in all the.
Absolutely.
They can blog it, tweet it, put a new forum, send you emails.
Yes, we are very happy to receive comments and suggestions. As our team is not that big, we cannot follow everything, but we definitely read all the comments, all the suggestions that they are sent to us, and hopefully with the right time we will act on that. Yes.
And maybe you are successful. I hope that you can hire, right?
Yes, we're actually in the process of hiring a few people because it's going very well, and we are now on the point in which we have a lot of work for ourselves, and we need to have more people.
Maybe developers, right? Maybe some other people.
Definitely customer support, support, and definitely developers as well. At least one or two. So if you have any interest, please get in touch with us and let us know.
So you can look at the camera. You can say, if you love Linux, if you know how to make the best Linux on ARM.
Absolutely.
Let's work together.
Linux systems, Android. If you like technology, if you like to work in a company who does things a bit differently.
In London?
In London.
Or it doesn't have to be in London, right? But you have a space maybe in the office?
Yes, we will have some space in the office. We need to work closely now.
Cool. Get super smooth, super stable. And Indiegogo, of course, is awesome, but hopefully the next level is like, huge. Something huge.
We'll see.
We'll see. Cool.